Different scene playing out at a town hall hosted by Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene in rural Georgia last night. Two people, including the man you see in this video, subdued by police with stun guns. Three people attending that town hall were arrested. I want to bring in our reporter panel. Riley Rogerson, reporter for NOTUS. Remember, that's News of the U.S. And Sophia Cai covers the White House for Politico. Great to have you both here. And the audience, you don't know this. You went to high school together in New Jersey. So this is like some kind of really cool journalistic reunion.
Exactly.
So welcome.
Thank you so much. Yes.
I will send an email to the reunion organizers just so
sure
they know this part of it's already been achieved. So let's just do one real quick thing about AOC and $9.5 million in a quarter. That's senatorial fundraising numbers.
Huge numbers for her. Like was mentioned, this is a record-breaking sum. As the Democratic Party is looking for leadership right now, it's particularly noteworthy that she's bringing in these numbers given her tour.
And everyone in politics pays attention to who raises what and how much.
Absolutely.
Sophia?
Absolutely, and I think like this could be a sign that Democrats are somewhat turning a corner after their loss in November. I think for months, you know, there was a lot of stewing going on, a lot of we don't know what to do, and I think there's still a lot of that. Especially on Capitol Hill, but I think elsewhere around the country, you see these tours and these events gathering tens of thousands, and I think that's pretty notable.
And we showed some of the video from the Marjorie Taylor Greene town hall. How do you process that, and how do you think that fits into how the nation is watching the political conversation in the country?
What I think is really interesting about that town hall is the fact that the head of the House Republicans campaign arm, Richard Hudson, has been advising Republicans not to host town halls like that,
right,
for fear that they would get rowdy. There were a couple town halls earlier this year that went, frankly, kind of off the rails, and I think they're concerned about that happening. Of course, you know, House Republicans are saying it's much easier and cheaper to do tele-town halls. You can reach way more constituents that way. Democrats have turned around and said, oh, that's ridiculous, and now you see members like Marjorie Taylor Greene who are excited about what the Trump administration's doing, excited about being a messenger for it, putting herself out there with a town hall, and now we see how that went.
And Sophia, but opening was sort of a warning. If you want to be disruptive, you're going to be arrested and stun guns.
Yeah, I think MTG appeared to cheer how that was handled. You know, I think, look, like it captures a moment in time, but I think it hits on two hot-button issues. Immigration, which is happening now, and we see the Trump administration sort of refusing to return the man who was deported to El Salvador. And you also see that another huge issue that is getting people's emotions really riled up, which is just this sort of slashing of the federal government, and that's continuing to happen in the background. And I think, you know, you've got federal workers and everyone who knows a federal worker who's been impacted by that. And so I think that's the second issue that some folks are reacting to.
And always worth reminding our audience that 80% of the federal workforce lives outside of Virginia, Maryland, and the District of Columbia, meaning they're all over the country. So, Riley, you wrote, Democrats wonder. Of course, that's a headline that could be applied almost universally. Democrats wonder, in this case, the rest of it goes, if Hakeem Jeffries can meet the moment. We just heard AOC refer to this moment. Is he? Can he? What's the sense within the House Democratic Caucus?
I think people are waiting to see exactly how he's going to proceed. Hakeem Jeffries is a younger leader of Democrats. Right now, their bench, when you look around, there's a lot of older, you know, thinking minority leader Chuck Schumer being one of them. So people are looking for young talent in the Democratic Party, and of course, he already has, you know, 212 House Democrats who work with him. So,
and you had some people who went on the record saying, I wonder about this.
Exactly.
I'm not sure.
What they're really looking for...
And the sort of the specter of Nancy Pelosi in the background, Speaker Emerita, is also part of this conversation.
Absolutely. And I think what they want to see, and the members we had on the record were, we want to see him sort of doing what AOC is doing.
More visible,
going out there,
more
being
assertive.
out there, being in the media more, doing more town halls. I think Congressman Jared Huffman said, I'm encouraging a road show. And that is kind of precisely what AOC is doing. We have seen Hakeem Jeffries do more of that in just recent weeks. He's been out and about. He's been doing media. His fundraising numbers, speaking of fundraising, have been very strong. And I think Democrats have taken note of that. And for the piece, we also talked to AOC about, you know, how does Leader Jeffries fit into this moment? And her response was, this is a team effort, and everyone has their role. So we'll continue to see how this shakes out.
And there's always Team AOC. There's always Team AOC. So, Sophia, something else that's really interesting. The vice chair of the Democratic National Committee, David Hogg, has created a PAC with $20 million, not to run against Republicans, but to run against Democrats who he says are unable or unwilling to meet the moment. Again, that phrase keeps popping up in our conversation, the moment. That is astonishing.
Yes, and I think the reason that this is noteworthy is because he's running against Democrats, and what that means is that it's the first real acknowledgement.
I mean, they're going to be primaried if they don't get more active, assertive, aggressive, visible.
And he's not named any names right now. So that's number one. I think number two, it's really the first acknowledgement coming from within the Democratic Party that's saying what we're doing is not working. So he said, look, it's not just about out with the old and with the new, it's also about out with the ineffective.
And to your point, Riley, about generational things, it's not for those in the swing districts, the frontline Democrats, so-called, in the House.
Right.
It's safe blue seat, meaning maybe ones with seniority who are not doing enough in the estimation of the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee.
Right, and it's worth noting, he's 25 years old. He's been a huge advocate for generational change within the Democratic Party, and he has been supported. He's a DNC vice chair. There are members of the party who must, like what he's saying.
And raising money to try to do it. One other thing real quick. Elise Stefanik had been nominated to be the UN ambassador. That was pulled so the House Republicans could keep one more vote because they know every vote is precious. Now possibly in a play for solidifying her return to House Republican leadership, or maybe she's serious about it. We've confirmed here at CBS News she's looking at running for governor in New York. Sophia?
Yeah, I think it just means that she's an ambitious person. Look, it's
welcome to Washington, ladies and gentlemen.
It means, she's kind of always looking for what's next, right? She's also kind of, her allies have also said that she's open to a number of other things, like another nomination from Trump, seeing that Republicans kind of picked up a couple seats and they're safer in that respect. But I think definitely Stefanik, she's young, she's someone to keep an eye on in the MAGA world.
It was a brief but delightful high school reunion. Riley Rogerson, Sophia Cai, thank you very much. I appreciate it.